Idol and basically just everything this season. We're going to hit some big points, like some American Idol episode. It's Eric. How you doing, Eric?
Doing good. How is everybody?
Pretty good.
So next up, we have someone who I am actually really, really jealous of, because when I was watching American Idol, he was there at the finale and got to witness the coronation of Maddie Poppy. It's Ryan. How you doing, Ryan?
You know, Maddie Poppy's the winner. Other people are not the winner. I'm really great.
And lastly, we have a new special co-host who's joining us for the first time. It is Jason. How you doing, Jason?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
So one of the reasons we have the full house is because at this point we are going to be splintering off for the rest of the season. I'm going to be covering America's Got Talent with Eric. I'm also going to be covering Big Brother with Ryan and Jason. But that's all for another time. That's all going to be starting next week. More information on that, you can follow me on Twitter for it. For today, we are going to just be focusing on American Idol. So the season is over. We have our winner. And I just want to throw this over to Ryan. The season as a whole, give me a grade.
Oh, that's so tough. I'm wavering between a B+ and an A-, and I would only say a B+ because of the length, but I feel like the talent and the overall mood of the season was too good, so I'll give it an A-. I'm happy with it.
What about you, Jason?
I'm gonna give it a solid B.
Solid B.
Yeah,
All right.
the talent was fantastic. Like Ryan said, the length was a little wonky. You know, it was a good season. I think there could be some improvements. We'll probably get into them later, but I was satisfied with it.
What about you, Eric?
B-, C+.
I'm gonna more agree with Ryan. I'm gonna go with an A-, just because I got everything I wanted. The only reason I'm not giving it an A+ is the judges were kind of a little bit and also the season was kind of abbreviated, which kind of brings us into the first topic I want to touch on. So before American Idol started, we got our news that we got our 3 judges. Luke Bryan, Lionel Richie, Katy Perry. There was also this big controversy. Katy Perry was getting $25 million. And I want to throw this question over first to Eric. Eric, Katy Perry earned $25 million for the season. Did she deserve it?
No.
I said deserve it. I meant earn it. Did she earn it?
No.
All right, Jason, did she earn it?
Yes.
She did earn it. Why did she?
Wow.
How did she earn it?
Please explain.
Okay, first of all, let me get started by saying I'm a huge Katy Perry fan, and Katy Perry has a huge fan base, and I think that at least a portion of the ratings can be attributed to the fact that Katy Perry's on the show. She's kind of unpredictable. You never quite know what she's going to do. There could be some things to be said about maybe she could have been a little bit more harsh, or she started out harsh and got kind of lax towards the end. But I think for her first season, I thought she did a good job.
Do you agree, Ryan?
I actually do agree. And here's my thought process. You can complain about them not being critical enough, about Katy not being critical enough, whatever you want. That does not work with the modern day American audience. If they acted like that, there would be outrageous response from the general public. Simon is not like that anymore. If you watch anything about X Factor, he stands for almost as many performances as they do, honestly. He stood for Restless Road before. I mean,
don't remind us of them. Why did you do that? Why would you do that?
The thing is,
that performance of Roar, that low note section, I hadn't laughed that hard on a reality competition performance ever.
Not since CC Fry.
No, CC Fry wasn't as funny as Restless Road's low note.
That's a ghost we're not going to conjure up either. Okay.
Next up, Adam Brock.
Go on. I'm sorry.
But I think so. I can't really criticize her for that. What she did bring was an audience. What she brought was an energy. And I think all 3 of the judges came together so well. And that's a good group. I have not honestly enjoyed watching the judges since the original trio. But at least these people I didn't want to fast forward through. And that's an accomplishment.
I'm kind of going to agree a little bit. I did like Katy Perry. I felt like a little bit she was trying to show that she deserved. that she deserved her payment, and she was kind of going a little bit over the top. One of the things that stood out to me was during a Disney week when she was dressed up as Snow White and she was really playing the part. A little bit too much on the antics. I would like a little bit pulled back on that. I would also like a little bit more constructive criticisms. I feel like for most of the judges, it was all, you're so great, and there was very little. It reminded me a little bit of The Voice. Like there's the thing I appreciate so much about American Idol is that they are willing to give them feedback. It's not always the nicest feedback, but it's honest and it's something that's useful. And I do agree. I think it was Jason who mentioned, no, it was Ryan who mentioned the shift in demographics of how American Idol and reality TV has changed over the years and how we are being more softer to the contestants. So that's all kind of nice and good, but I do still want some more constructive criticism. Eric, I feel like you have a lot to say.
I have a little bit to say at least. I'll say that there's a way to be constructive without being mean. And my issue with them was not that they weren't mean, it's that they weren't constructive for the most part. I will say, the last week of the season, for the first couple rounds, the finale week actually, was the first time I felt like they were being honest all season. And if they could do that type of judging for the entirety of next season, then I'll be really happy.
Do you agree, Jason?
I definitely think that maybe the judging panel as a whole, I definitely think that in a lot of the critiques that they gave, especially towards the later rounds, it was kind of like they were all three saying the same thing.
Yes.
And I like in the coming seasons for them to maybe kind of differ in opinion or debate how they really feel. But I think that this season there is something to be said for I don't feel like this panel was swayed in any particular direction. I feel like there's something to be said for that.
Ryan, you look like you have something to say. Do you agree with that?
Other than one particular contestant, who I think they might have been swayed a little bit, I would generally agree, except the thing is, even when Katie got harsher and she called that round one on Sunday a disaster, there were articles written, Katy Perry too harsh. What is Katy Perry doing? Why is she tearing these contestants down? And
it was only that because it was sudden, though. If she was like that the rest of the season, it wouldn't have been an issue.
I want to say that, but I don't. As much as I would prefer that, I don't trust like the general American Idol demographics to support that anymore, which is sad.
I do kind of agree with that, but I just want to kind of pivot this into the next kind of question I have. We already know that season 2 is greenlit. We already know that this entire panel is season 17/season 2. It's the same thing. I just want to throw it over to Jason for season 17, season 2, whatever. Jason, would you, if you were a producer, would you keep this panel intact, or would you maybe shuffle it around, maybe change one or two of the judges?
I'm sorry?
Would you keep this panel intact, or would you kind of change it a little around? Do you kind of think that this was a good panel, or would you have made some changes if you got to?
At this point, if it was me, I would keep the panel intact. I think that it was a good start for them. I think there was definitely some things that they could work on for next season, but the chemistry that they have, I don't feel like we've had a panel where we've seen this kind of chemistry in a very long time. We had to sit through 3 years of Keith Haring and J-Lo, so I'm very satisfied with this panel.
I liked Harry for a little bit. There was like a part when I was like, he reminded me a little of Simon, and then a part where it was like totally inappropriate, some of the things he was doing. But there was, I feel like in the audition, they could make the audition stages, they can make any judge look good. Like, remember we were thinking
we love Steven Tyler.
Steven Tyler, even Katy Perry.
I loved Brittany at her audition, and now I just had the sign.
If you keep showing that sign, we're gonna have to start talking about Cece Fry. So just
we're not there.
So any final thoughts kind of about the judges panel? I mean, I kind of agree. I would maybe keep it intact. My dream though would be to have someone like Sarah Bareilles on. She's one of my favorite artists. Any final thoughts on the judges panel? Eric, I'll throw it to you.
Honestly, at this point, if they can afford to pay Katy Perry the money to keep her around, who gives a crap? It's not about the judges anyway. And that's one thing I'll say I like most about Idol this season, is that the focus was less on the judges than it could have been, and they did that right.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're kind of gonna move forward. That's our discussion on the judges, I want to kind of bring us back all the way to the audition rounds, because we start with the audition rounds. We see a bunch of contestants, and I just want to ask really quickly. I'm going to throw this over to Ryan first. Ryan, of all the auditions, which of the contestants kind of stood out the most in the audition stages?
It's tough because I want to say obvious people like a Katie, like a Journey, of course. But honestly, Effie really blew me away, and I don't think she ever quite reached that same level again.
Totally agree. I remember that was one of my favorite auditions. It wasn't my number one favorite. It was probably in my top 5, but really, I really liked it. I highly doubt that we are ever going to see her on American Idol ever again.
Oh, no,
because of her.
Not a chance in hell.
She had a Reddit AMA where she was answering very bluntly some questions from viewers. And I actually went back because I wanted to go back and look at some of her responses. And the thread is deleted, which a little telling. What about you, Jason? Of the auditions, who stood out to you the most based just on the audition rounds?
Okay, I will definitely second Effie. Oh my god, the run that she hit during the chorus of her song. Oh my god, like, was that not ridiculous? As far as the rest of them, I don't remember her name, but there was one girl who sang "Dangerous Woman," and she came, and I loved her. Okay. I don't remember her name. I apologize, but she was fantastic.
I know who you're talking about. I don't remember her name either.
The one like was like her dad was like, if you don't make it on Idol, you're going to college or something. I relate to her.
Her dad said that for a reason.
Hey, Ryan, do not.
What about you, Eric? I'm going to throw it over to you. Of all the auditions, in your opinion, who was the biggest standouts?
The two that I remember the most are Mara Justine and Ada Vox.
Yep, I'm going to echo your sentiments a little bit. I'm going to say my top 5 auditions were probably Mara, Ada Vox, Effie Passero, Maddie, obviously. And for the last one, I don't know, maybe Journey, maybe, I don't know. Correct. I got it right. Yeah, basically that's the audition rounds. We have all these contestants. They go to Hollywood Week. Hollywood Week, not many standout performances in my opinion. Like going back, I was kind of rewatching. There was only a couple that I really remembered. Eric, you said no right away. What did you think of the Hollywood Week rounds this year?
Honestly, most of the early rounds for me were kind of a blur. I mean, I don't remember very much of it. I mean, Hollywood Week was okay. I mean, there are a couple of good performances. Actually, I will say my favorite performance of the entire season, is we're going to get to this later. And it was tough for me to decide my favorite performance of the season, actually. But it was probably during Hollywood Week. It's the one performance I liked during Hollywood Week.
Jason, what do you think of season 16 Hollywood Week?
Hollywood Week, I'm going to say this. I think that there wasn't a lot of standout performances because a lot of the performances that we saw during Hollywood Week were very good. Like, we got really great performances from Gabby. We got amazing performances from Katie. Journey gave us good performances in Hollywood Week. And there was one in particular who I think that we're going to get to later, because there was one contestant during Hollywood Week who I felt was the most robbed, maybe of the season. And we'll get to it later, but there was one.
I'm going to take a guess, though. I feel like I might have an idea who it is, but first I want to throw it over to Ryan. What did you think?
I feel the same as Jason, essentially. And the thing is, Hollywood Week got really good reception, got really good ratings, and I think it worked really well for Idol. Mm-hmm. And there were like a few standout moments to me, at least. Like, I will never forget Michael's performance.
Oh, God. Oh.
And Katie's originals, Maddie, like I was really happy with Hollywood Week.
I did too. The thing is, I feel like this is a testament to how good of a season it was, that later on in the season, there were such better performances that thinking back, I remember Michael's, Maddie's, Katie's, and I think those are like it. I don't think we saw that much of Ada Vox during the Hollywood Week.
We did, and we'll get to that later.
All right, so that's kind of Hollywood Week. Do you guys have any kind of major points you want to touch on before we move on? Brian, I'll throw it to you.
I think looking back, Maddie's Dreams is kind of like this like foreshadowing, like legendary moment in my mind, at least. Like that was where her journey like really started, and you thought like, wow, like who is this girl?
Do you agree, Jason?
I do agree, and I will say this: I did a thread a couple of days ago on Twitter of like reasons why Maddie should win Idol, and I got like at least 5 or 10 people that replied to this thread that was like, "How could you forget her performance of Dreams?" And I feel bad about it. Like, I can't believe I did that. But the reason why, and I can go ahead and tell everybody this, the reason why is because she was like the video was lumped in with a performance from Cade Fainer, and I was not about to put myself through that, so I didn't click on it. But anyway.
Wait a minute. Why didn't you like Cade?
Just not my cup of tea. Anyway, I will say one thing. I didn't like when they were doing the final judgment how they brought like Dennis and Marcio in together and then they just put them both through. I thought that was kind of stupid. I have never really been a fan of like the final, we're gonna go in together and one comes in and one does. I just thought it was like a little bit over dramatic. It's fine. It is what it is, but
the worst is when they make them sing and they have the sing off. Remember that? And season?
That's just shitty.
14.
That was, who was it? I think it was
Ray and Maddie.
Maddie.
Who was it?
It was Maddie and Rachel. Was that her name?
I think so.
I don't even remember a Maddie from season 14.
14.
Maddie Walker. She made top 12.
Oh my God, I don't remember. Oh, Maddie Walker. There's so many contestants. I can't always remember all of them. There was Maddie. There was also CJ Harris and someone else that they both put through.
Don't remind me of CJ.
And remember, they also had they did the vote, Nico Starr versus Ben Briley, the most unfair vote, like I think in American Idol history. But anyway.
Do you remember that vote where they would like Idol like Hollywood or Idol Home or whatever, and they did it on Johnson at Final Judgment, and America was like, he's going home.
I enjoyed that.
And he won, and he beat Gina Irene, and I'm still a little bit bitter about that.
I'm not be conjuring up today. And I'm DJ what Harris is doing very well in prison. Now.
Wait, what?
He's in prison.
No, he's not.
Yes, not anymore.
Not anymore. That makes it better.
He was.
What happened?
Was it like taxes or no?
No, he was selling narcotics.
Oh, that's right.
I have no idea. Okay.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna need a source on that. But anyway,
these two seem pretty confident about that, so I'm gonna just take them right.
All right. Well,
we got.
It's like Donald Trump says. If you say a lie and you say it confidently enough, people will believe you.
Conjure up. Anyway.
We kind of brought this up a second ago.
I was sort of kidding. Kind of, sort of, not really. Anywho, let's go.
We kind of brought this up a second ago, but I kind of want to transition from Hollywood Week to the Green Mile rounds where Ryan was actually lucky enough to be there, and he got to see some of the contestants perform. We get our top 24 from that batch. I'm just going to say first, my favorite performance of this batch was probably Ada Vox doing Creep.
That was Green Mile? Okay, never mind. Nothing from Hollywood Week. Never mind.
We didn't see anything from our winner in that round, although I did hear some things about it. Ryan, you were actually there. Do you want to talk a little bit about your experiences, who you liked seeing live?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So I'll call Idol out a little bit on this. When I saw half of the top 50 for the Green Mile. And the first thing that jumped out at me was like, this is a super talented, super diverse group of people. Got to the spoilers the next day, and most of that diversity was gone. Not sure what happened there. But we lost a lot of talented people there, and I was not a fan of the cuts they made. But the performances themselves, those were like top notch. Those were, I think, the contestants at their most creative and their most excited.
Which cuts kind of surprised you the most?
Fattiest. Hands down, have no idea. I have never experienced a more like electric performance in my entire life. That was wild to see. And to see him get cut after was crazy. Also, Courtney Smith, which we barely saw.
I don't know who that is.
Never do I.
I don't know if she aired, her group round aired where she sang Rather Be, and she like got the ending part where she like got up in the judges.
I think I remember her. She was. I remember her.
She sang Scars to You're Beautiful at that round, was phenomenal, and I have no idea how she got cut.
What about you, Jason? What did you think about the Green Mile round? Was there any contestant that really stood out or didn't stand out? What did you kind of think about the round?
I mean, I wasn't there, and I'm gonna be honest. A lot of the ones I don't remember. The one that is coming to mind right now is Katie Turner's Bad Romance, and she's had better moments, but oh, and Journey's Never Enough. Oh my God, that girl did that song, and when I tell you, I was mad because they put Katy Perry talking over that. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I do want to comment on something based on that. When I've downloaded the MP3s of the performances, I got really pissed when the judges were talking over all these performances. Because I like listening to this stuff after the show, and it's like, why the hell do you keep talking? Just shut up and let us hear the performances. That's one of my changes. That's one of my 6 things I would change.
I don't know how Ryan was there for that and didn't throw a shoe at her because.
Okay, can I just say really quickly, the way they ordered it was kind of unfair for. I don't remember who the last guy was. He wasn't that good, and it sucked for him because the order was like Journey doing Never Enough, which, spoiler, is my performance of the season, one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in my life. Ada doing Creep, also one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in my life. And then Thaddeus, and then some poor last guy. But like that was the most incredible string of performances I've ever witnessed.
I really enjoyed that round, but we kind of move on. So we get our cuts. We lose a bunch of contestants. And at this point, before we move on to the live portions of the show, I just want to ask, so we lose a lot of contestants in Hollywood Week, in the Green Mile. I just want to throw this over. I'll throw it over to Jason first. Of all the contestants we lost pre-live shows, who do you hope is going to return next season?
Thaddeus. He has to. He has to. I feel like this is like Candace Glover part 2. Like she was cut completely, oh my God, inexplicably in season 11 for no reason, and then she returned and won the damn thing in season 12. I'm ready for him. Come on back.
What about you, Eric?
Thaddeus is the only one who was cut that I even remotely remember. So yeah, I'll say that.
What about you, Ryan?
She didn't get any airtime, but I do want to see Courtney back. Thaddeus, of course. Maddie Zom, I'd love to see back, and Noah. The thing about Maddie and Noah is they both choked that last round, so I understand getting cut, but I still want them to come back.
Did we see their Green Mile performances? I don't really remember. How did they choke? They just didn't sound well?
I actually didn't see them in person. They just aired.
But
like they were not good, especially Noah. I don't know what happened, but I felt so bad.
You kind of hit all the big names that I was going to touch on. I was going to touch on Maddie. I was going to touch on Thaddeus. One name that I kind of want to float out, I don't know if you guys are going to agree with me. I would kind of like to see Harper back. I'm not quite sure if we're going to be able to see her back again because she was kind of featured weirdly at the finale. But she's
not coming back.
No
one who was featured is coming back. Noah's not coming back either, I don't think.
I think Noah is coming back. I feel like also jumping ahead a little bit, in the finale, they kind of had this package where they show some of the contestants singing in like a promo for the next season. And I don't remember his name. There was the one guy who Katy Perry was obsessed with. Trevor. I feel like we're going to probably see Trevor again. We might see Noah again, Harper, Thaddeus, maybe. Those are just kind of the names that I would go for. Do you think we might see Harper again, Ryan?
I think we definitely could. The thing is, Idol will build up certain contestants that like, oh, you got to come back, like
Skylar Dixon,
and then like they don't even like let them through initial rounds the next time, so you never truly know like who's going to come back.
The worst. I will say, Idol's bad on this. X Factor. Who was the girl? What was her name? Melanie.
Yes, McCabe.
Like 5 times this girl was cut, and every time they get hyper up like crazy, then they cut her. She is the most. I don't know why she kept coming back because they are so mean to this girl. Okay, diversion.
Do you guys remember Panda?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm on Facebook. Hi, Panda. How are you?
She tweeted that she's gonna audition. She wants to audition for X Factor UK.
She lives in the UK now.
No, but she said she wants to audition for it.
She doesn't have to.
How does that work? I feel like you need
Spencer
citizenship.
Sutherland was on X Factor UK last season. I liked him. He didn't make it anywhere. Anyway.
So, do you guys have any final thoughts about the Green Mile before we kind of move into the live rounds? Eric?
Nope.
Jason?
Thaddeus 2K19.
Ryan?
I enjoyed it.
Okay, so we move on to the live shows, and we're not going to go through every week. We've already done that in full in previous podcasts. Here's what I want to do for this round. I have basically like a few questions. So I'm just going to throw this over. We're going to do it one at a time. I want you guys to each share your 3 favorite performances of the season. The rule is you can only pick one per contestant. So you can only pick one Cade song if you're going to pick from Cade. I'm sure Jason's going to be full of it. Maddie, one Maddie song. So we're going to go back and forth. We'll start with our third place, go up to our number 1. Is that all right?
Sure.
Go on.
Question.
Sure.
2 questions actually. Does it have to be like live show performances, and does it have to be, or are like the celebrity duets from the top 24 round eligible?
All right. It could be any performance at all from the season. It could be auditions. It could be live shows. This is just our final. It's our last touching on the season before we go into more like general questions. So who wants to start? Should I start? I guess I'll start. My third favorite performance of the season is, there's a lot to pick from, but I'm going to say my third favorite is probably Katie Turner doing Havana. Really strong performance. Katie is one of those contestants that just kept impressing me every week. Like after she performed in the top 24, I had basically written her off as being gone in the top 10.
Me too.
And after that, she just kind of hit this stride that just was building with momentum, and it kind of came crashing down in top 7. But Havana was honestly one of my favorite performances of the season. Ryan, do you agree?
I would not put that as Katie's best. But I mean, honestly, that Katie run where she did like from top 14 to top 7 part 1 was like, whoa, like she was really killing it week after week.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to throw this over to Eric. Which is your third favorite performance of the entire season?
Well, first I'm going to say Cade is not in my top 3, which is going to surprise you.
He was your number 1 pick on the draft.
I know, but he didn't deliver on live shows overall. Okay, number 3, Dennis Lorenzo with Women's Work.
Okay.
Really?
I'm going to agree with that. That was
if we're talking about pure vocal performances, for me, that one was the best of the entire season. And Dennis didn't get me excited prior to it, but after it, I actually got really into him. And I would say the word I would use to sum up that performance was effortless. It was so effortless, and it was amazing to watch.
Do you agree, Jason?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
All right, so let's move on to Jason. You want to share your third favorite performance of the season?
Yeah, I would go ahead and put Journey Never Enough in that. I think that performance was definitely her best of the season. You know, you can pick either, you know, her, I guess, kind of Save Me song, or you can do the Green Mile one. But it was just effortless. She did a fantastic job with that.
I really like that too. Do you agree, Ryan?
Oh my God, I absolutely love that performance. I actually think that might be a little low.
All right, so I'll throw it over to you, Ryan, next. What was your number 3?
Number 3, I'm debating on this song, but I think personally for me, I'm going to say Katie doing Take Me to Church.
I love that.
The reason I picked Take Me to Church is just because that's like a more personal moment for me. Like I was very nervous for her going in. She know was like very like, she sounded not confident going in, but when she stepped on that stage and I got to see like in the audience that night, she absolutely killed it. She earned her spot so easily. And I don't know, like that show was not going so well. And like Ada came out before her, finally gave a good performance, but then Katie came out and absolutely smashed it.
I feel like we were going to be talking a little bit more about Katie a little bit more on into this episode, but I guess we're going to kind of move on to our number 2 picks. I'm going to start. There were a bunch of contestants. I knew what my number 1 pick was going to be, which I feel like it's going to be pretty obvious for a lot of you. Number 2, I was kind of torn between a performance of Mara's and a performance of Ada Vox, and I decided to go with Ada Vox's performance of Creep. I thought that was phenomenal. One of the best written number 2 behind Gina Irene doing it, in my opinion. Jason, do you agree with that ranking, in my opinion?
Yeah, definitely.
What about you, Ryan?
I cannot fault you at all for that. Ada stepped on that stage, and that was a true idol moment, which we didn't get many of those during actual live shows, but like Creep was such like a here I am, like this is why I'm here, and it launched her on the map, not only on the show, but like in the media sphere. Like that is where Ada took off, and I think that's where Ada's career really started.
One of the reasons it stands out to me so much is because I've worked in American Idol and like coverage of the show, and I've seen how many times this Adam Sanders has auditioned for the show, and to finally have it reminded me a little bit of when Serena Joy Crow did her like Mama Knows Best performance. Like finally, the moment is finally happening. All this effort, and finally she gets the moment on the stage, and that was I just felt for the guy. Like I felt like so like this was it probably meant so much to him, and it just I kind of liked it. What did you think, Eric?
I think you'll be hearing about it from me later on.
Ooh, let's throw it over to you, Eric. What did you think? What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Katie Turner. Oops, I Did It Again.
I'm not quite sure I would put that there. I feel like we're going to be talking about that.
Let me explain why. Because it was my Havana was good, but she just did it acoustically. It wasn't like a different arrangement. Oops, I Did It Again was for me was Katie Turner asking Postmodern Jukebox, please bring me out with you. And I think that they'll hopefully listen to that. I thought the vocal was probably her best of the season. I thought the arrangement was great and unexpected. Everyone was back to her to just play with on a guitar, and she did it. And she did like actually like a jazzy arrangement of it. I loved it. And I thought, I actually went to sleep after that one before the second performance that night. So I thought, after that, she's definitely safe. And then I woke up and I saw that she was cut. And I'm like, how the hell did that happen? And then I saw she forgot her lyrics. I'm like, God damn it. But yeah.
I really enjoyed that performance. I enjoyed it a little bit. It kind of took me a little bit down a notch when I read a little later that it was basically Haley Reinhardt's version of that song with Postmodern Jukebox. It was a little bit different. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it did kind of. What do you think, Ryan?
I don't think it was intentional. I will say that. And the thing is, I don't really like. That's my least favorite Haley Postmodern Jukebox collaboration. Just to put that out there. So I actually really liked Katie's tone, and I liked her choices on that.
What did you think about it, Jason?
It was definitely the better of the two that night. I will say that. I thought it was fantastic. If it was on iTunes, I would have downloaded it. I mean, it got overshadowed by what else happened that evening, but
it did for me. But
all right, so let's keep it going. Jason, what is your second favorite performance of the entire season?
I was actually going to say as well, Katie Turner and Take Me to Church, but I think I'm going to change it and say Mara and Rachel Platten's fight song.
That was the pick that I was going to – it was either going to be that or Adam Sanders, and I decided to go with Creep. I absolutely love that performance. Kind of the Mara train kind of fell off after that, but for a moment during that performance, it reminded me of her audition and the hype of why people were rooting for her. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Mara – what do you think kind of happened with her that things didn't like going into the live shows? Eric and I were kind of predicting her maybe going all the way, and it fell apart really quickly. Jason, what do you think kind of happened that everything kind of went sour for her?
She just had that one bad performance, and I guess she just kind of got inside her head. You know, it's a bigger stage, more people are watching her now, and it didn't happen for her, unfortunately. If she was allowed to come back, I would love to see her come back. And I think that there's a lot of cases this season where, like, I feel that if they had just had 1 or 2 more years to kind of, you know, grow and get better in who they are as an artist, and then they could have slayed. And I feel like she is one of those cases where she was just too young for this. And I wish she had waited, you know, a little while longer to come back.
All right. Ryan, your number 2 song of the season.
Number 2, I know what Adam's going to pick for his number 1, and I think it's my number 2. So because of that, I'm going to say a different Maddie performance.
Okay.
I'm going to say, man, which one do you even pick? I think I'm gonna go with Homeward Bound.
Good pick. Very good pick. You want to talk about it a little bit?
That was the moment that Maddie became a legitimate, like full-on contender. There was no question in my mind if she was getting voted through. She had so much hype. It was the most controlled vocal, one of the most controlled vocals of the season. Like the way she just reached up into her falsetto without even trying, so effortlessly. And it was just like the Bandzilla was a big problem top 14 night. And so to have her rein it back and take control of that and just deliver such like a perfect performance was so special, I think.
I agree. One of the reasons I put this rule into for the picks is if I was picking my top three, it would just all be Maddie performances. So that's one of the reasons. Homeward Bound would have been on that list, in my opinion. There's so much to talk about with Maddie. We're going to talk. I have on my notes, there's a section we're going to be talking about Maddie right after the segment. But before we go into that, I'm going to talk about my number one pick for my performance of the season. And no surprise, it's Nothing Compares to You, Sinead O'Connor, Maddie Poppy rendition. The thing is, her behind the piano, it reminded me of why I like Jax, why I like Gina Irene. It's just that moment when they could bring it down. When everyone's going to go big, she's going to go small. And those are the contestants that I always root for. And I just feel like this was the performance of the season. Like this was it. Ryan, do you agree? I was going to throw it to Eric, but I feel he's totally going to disagree. So I'm going to throw it to Ryan.
I completely agree. This was the moment where I think Maddie became one of like a finale, not lock, but like she was probably making it. And the thing about Nothing Compares to You is I don't know why no one's ever done that on Idol before. Maybe because they couldn't get it cleared before, but that's a good song. And she just took it, she ran with it, and she absolutely annihilated everyone else that night.
It reminded me of Jax when she did White Flag, like they bring out the piano. I kind of wish we had gotten more more of these kind of performances from Maddie. She plays so many instruments, but she kind of always stuck with her guitar. I would have loved more piano. I would have loved to see her do the Elvis song that Gina Irene played, Can't Help Falling in Love. Just imagine that. That would have been that might have even been top this performance. But in my opinion, best performance of the season. Eric, did you like this performance?
I will say it was my favorite Maddie performance of the season. It was.
And on that note,
and actually, if she did more songs like that, it would have been nice. But yeah, I agree with that.
Hater?
I am not a hater. She's not my cup of tea.
I would always, whenever he would say something negative about Maddie, I would tweet him the picture from Charlie the Unicorn where all the unicorns say "shun the non-believer." So that's that basically.
And pivot from that one, cause.
What did you think, Jason? What did you think about Nothing Compares to You?
Oh my God, was it not exquisite? Oh my God, oh my God! Like she came out and she did what she had to do. Oh my God, she's fantastic.
It was at this performance, in my opinion, that I wanted her to win. Like I wanted her to win before, but now she moved into the legends category a little bit, in my opinion, of the top contestants. This was the moment where I was like, she has to win. If she doesn't win, the best contestant is not going to win this season, which has happened so many times in the past. Season 14. Yeah.
Shut up. Nick was the best that season. Shut up.
I meant 13. 13. Sorry.
Anyway.
All right. Anyway, I totally messed that up. I'm really embarrassed. Eric, what is your number one performance of the season?
Ada Vox Creep.
Can't complain with you. I mean, I understand Maddie isn't your cup of tea. It makes sense. It's my favorite performance of Ada's too.
Can I talk about it a bit?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So for me, Ada got caught about 3 weeks too early. I thought Ada was a trailblazing contestant with an incredible voice. And Ada brought something totally different to Idol and to the reality show genre as a whole, I'd say. For me, it was Ada's best performance, best vocal, best song choice. It was just freaking incredible. And I think that the most annoying part to me is that even this wasn't her best. I feel like Ada could have, if she stuck around a little longer, I think she could have had a Mad World style Idol moment, and I'm sad we never got it.
Do you agree with that, Jason?
Yes, I do.
We kind of touched on this performance enough. Do you guys have any final things you want to say about it?
I have a final thought on Ada.
Go for it.
I love Ada. Ada is probably has the most potential as a vocalist from this cast. She can be incredible. The thing about Ada is she did not, after her duet with Leah, she just didn't live up to her potential at all. I don't think her vocals held up on the Queen song as much. On Circle of Life, it didn't. And I Am Telling You was a mess. I wish so bad that she still shouldn't have got cut when she did. But I just wish so bad that Ada had performed to the caliber that she's capable of.
I think that just goes back to the standards we kind of expect from this kind of singer. Like, we kind of, when I was watching her, I was kind of expecting Candace Glover, and no one can kind of live up to that. And I feel like every time she was kind of letting, in my opinion, because I was expecting perfection from her, which isn't really fair on my part to do on her, but she was just delivering so many performances that when she stopped being able to live up to that, it like knocked her down a lot. And because it stops being so like amazing to people, if you're not up to that point, it's just how that like block kind of goes. Eric?
Well, I think that my issue is that I think if Ada was a straight white man, Ada would have made it all the way.
Oh, for sure.
All right. Oh, go on.
At the same time, like, And I Am Telling You and Circle of Life, those are like objectively bad vocals.
I didn't think Circle of Life was a bad vocal. I thought And I Am Telling You was an objectively bad vocal.
I just think that while Ada got cut way too early and certainly had a lot of factors working against her that were completely unfair and I guess properties of the demographics that Idol viewers prefer, I still think that she also let herself down a little bit.
Guys, I know we could talk about that performance, but we all know the best rendition of Circle of Life was by Zonette. And on that note, Jason, what was your number one performance of the season?
Don't say that and then cut.
Yeah, please say that.
You can't get away with that.
There is nothing that will top that.
My best performance of the season is actually, I'm going to give it to a non-competition performance. And I'm going to kind of go out on a limb here and say Katie Turner and Katy Perry doing Part of Me. That was... I was shook. Okay, I did not expect it to be that good. That was fantastic.
Genuinely, I can't fault that at all. I thought that was the best duet of the finale by far. So I can't fault that choice.
I can't disagree either. That was pretty good. We'll talk about that performance a little bit later on. I have some things we'll go over. Beautiful. The one thing is that Katy Perry's wigs kind of keep distracting me a little bit because she has long hair than short hair, but this was beautiful performance. The best Katie's, the contestant Katie with a C was sounding all season. Do you have any thoughts on it, Ryan?
I'm just going to say I was very proud, and I was very, very, very happy with it.
Was it live when they did it?
No, it was not.
All right. So, Ryan, you're last up. Number one performance of the season. It all comes down to this.
All right.
My
number one performance of the season is definitely Marcio doing Jealous. No, I'm just kidding.
I would have agreed. I sent Marcio home.
Oh, wow. Okay. Anyway.
I picked that performance for him. And he went with it and crashed and burned. But go on.
No, number one, I have to give it to Journey doing Never Enough. The first time. The second time was good too, but like that first time was, I just have to give like a little story about it. So like I didn't know anything about these people going in. I got to be in the audience for that one. And just seeing Journey like walk out on stage immediately was like, wow, like that's a star. Before she opened her mouth, before she did anything, it was like, who is this girl? And when she opened her mouth, every single note was flawless. The emotion was there. Her wife was in the audience. Half that audience was in tears. Like, it was just the most special moment for me of the season. And I wish so bad we got to see like an unedited version of it without Katie talking, like Jason said, because it was so good. And I think you lose a little bit of that in the aired version, but that was truly an Idol moment.
I agree. pretty beautiful. I really enjoyed Journey as a contestant. I feel like her and Ada kind of suffered the most from the shortened season. I feel like they probably could have gone a little bit deeper. In my opinion, I would have put them through a little deeper. I wouldn't have had them at the finale, but I would probably maybe one of them in the finale.
Ada, I would have had Ada at the finale, personally.
I would have had Journey in the finale.
Journey, I would say also. sorry, Eric. But yeah,
it's okay. You have the right to be wrong.
Oof.
Oh, don't come for me today. Don't come for me today.
All right, so that is basically all the performances of the season. And before we go on to some of the more general questions, I just want to touch on, we have our winner. It's Maddie Poppy. My favorite, my number one pick in the draft. I've rooted for her all season. I actually filmed my reaction to this, to seeing her win. Never going to post it online, no, because it was just
50
awful.
50 subscribers.
I have pit stains. It's awful. You guys don't want to see it.
I will upload it at 100 subscribers.
All right. 30 or 50, one or the other.
30.
All right. So she wins. She does her pretty strong idol run. And I just want to ask for you guys, for those of you who kind of rank the winners, where do you think she kind of falls in like the tiers? Is she a top tier winner, a middle tier winner, or kind of towards the bottom? In my opinion, of the seasons I've seen, I started watching season 9. She's number 1. Gonna put it out there. I mean, Caleb at the bottom, Lee at the bottom, Nick kind of at the top, Candace also at the top.
Nick at the top of what?
I like Nick. I was really from America's Got Talent. But that aside, I want to throw this over. I'll throw it to Jason first. In your opinion, is she a top tier winner, mid tier winner? Where does she fall in your opinion?
Well, let me first start by saying Nick is a bottom tier winner. Know that.
False. False.
Like, I would say Maddie's like at the bottom of the top tier winners for sure. You know, because we've got like Kelly Clarkson,
of course,
Chris. You know, but she's up there for sure, definitely. This has been the season for me. I haven't been this satisfied with a season since the season 10 would be the best winner. But yeah, I'm very, very satisfied with how this turned out.
Did you guys, Eric? I'm gonna give you a few minutes. 1 minute. Any thoughts on Maddie and her victory?
Okay, here's my thoughts. I said them yesterday. I'll say them again. I am really happy for you all that you found someone you all really love. Congratulations.
And I won the draft.
Congratulations. You are first. Okay, I thought I had a minute. Let me talk. I like her winning single a lot. I like her as a person a lot. As an artist, she is not the type of person I would go out of my way to listen to. For me, she is probably fifth or fourth from the bottom of my winners. But yeah.
I feel, though, that for her to win, her winning had to be, like, it brought closure, in my opinion, to this season. Like, if Gabby won, if Caleb won, it would have been anticlimactic. Like, Maddie, it was such a happy moment. It was like feel good. Everyone was kind of like, when everyone's up there dancing, like I really was like feeling it. Like it brought me, I don't know, I've never watched live when Kelly won the season, but I imagine that's kind of what it feels like when everyone's like like a little bit crying and like smiling, and it felt right. Like it felt like this was how it should be. She deserves to be the winner. She's taken her crown, and she's going to stand with the other best winners at the top of my tier list. Any final thoughts on Maddie as a winner? Eric? Not Eric. Jason.
Sorry, that was real. Anyway, I want Maddie to be so bad. I am so interested to see what the Disney company and ABC is going to do to promote her. That's one of the biggest gripes that I had with the last version of American Idol. I was like, God, why do they not promote their people? They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything to promote Trent Harmon, you know? So I would love nothing more than for them to take all this money that they invested into the show and put it into Maddie and make sure that she is successful, because I definitely think that she does have the potential.
I will say, Go and Gone has the potential to be a radio smash. I will say that. And I think that Disney knows how to promote things when they want to promote them. We all can say Disney is the mass marketing masters. So hopefully they get behind her, because even though she's not my cup of tea, for the show's sake and for your sake, I want her to do well.
I just want to give an update, by the way. She's actually number 3 on iTunes, so go buy it, get her to number 1. Get
Yes.
Britton Buchanan at a number 1 spot. Like, why is he still there?
Who?
Who?
Exactly. Someone from The Voice who
Nope.
didn't even
Yeah.
win. So I guess we're going to kind of move on to the next topic I kind of want to bring up. So in previous Idol seasons, we had Fox in charge of the show. Now we have ABC. I wanted to ask, how do you feel about how ABC handled American Idol? Are you pro what they did with it? Did you not like it? Ryan, I'll throw it to you first.
I want to start. ABC, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I think that they put the time and the effort into Idol that Fox just didn't in the last few years. They truly cared. Are there flaws? Yeah, of course. It's the first season on ABC. Of course, they have stuff to work out. But I think Idol finally has a home that makes sense for it. And I want to make this point. This is the first time we have Hollywood Records, a label associated with the show, also connected to the network through Disney. They are in partnership, and they mutually benefit from each other. We didn't get that with Fox. You had Interscope, you had whatever. There wasn't a connection
I
there.
will say, the producers on Idol, originally were the management for the winner. So there was something like it. It wasn't as connected as it is now. I'll say that. And I will say that ABC, overall, all my fears were unfounded. I was scared shitless going into the season because of Rising Star, because of duets, because of all these other crappy singing shows ABC had on the air. And I'm really happy with how they handled Idol. I really am. Are there tweaks? Yes, there are tweaks, but there should be tweaks. But I think overall they did a great job.
What do you think, Jason? Oh, sorry. Go, Ryan.
I was just going to say, I think that Hollywood Records also has a legitimate interest in promoting these kids. That makes me very happy. And they honestly want them to succeed in their own way, and I will leave it at that.
Jason, your turn. Jason?
I could not be more satisfied with how ABC has, even like from the start, before we even knew like who the judges were or who was going to be on this season, even from the very beginning, before this season premiered, you could not turn on ABC without seeing a commercial for American Idol. They went so far as to play commercials for American Idol on the radio in the store that I work at. Like, they were not playing around with this season. And this is what Idol has deserved for so long. Idol used to be the biggest show in America for so long. And ABC, if they do things how they are supposed to be done, which it's looking like they're serious about this show, they could get it right back to where it was. This show could produce.
Not going to go that far. But you know what? Last night they beat The Voice in the ratings. So that's a good sign.
Woo. All right. So any final thoughts on ABC before we move on to our next topic?
I want to mention I love, selfishly as like a West Coast person, I love Coast to Coast. I really do. I know that live voting is tough. And there are ways to improve it, but if you're gonna have one show a week for live shows and you can't do like a result show, I would immediately prefer live voting over waiting a week, making them sit in electric chairs and then lighting them up.
I will say that was my favorite change of the season. It was the live coast to coast voting, and I'm on the East Coast, but I will still say that was my favorite change of the season. That was really smart how they did that.
Jason, go ahead.
I really do like the live voting thing. The only thing that I think they could do to improve it is instead of, starting the voting at the very beginning of the show,
start it at the end. Here's my number.
Here's what I'm thinking. I think that they should say, okay, contestant 1 just performed. You have 5 minutes to vote for them, and then close the voting right after contestant 2 ends their song. That way, everybody, including the last person that sings, gets a fair shot at making it to next week.
I would do either that or just have bring back an Idol alum, like have the final performance be like 10 minutes before like the elimination. So that way we could have that one performance. That way there's extra time for everyone to get their votes in. But I like Jason, your idea also works pretty well in my opinion.
The thing is it doesn't though, because then you can't decide. You can't compare everyone to everyone else that way. Is the problem.
If you like the performance, vote for it.
But the problem is I like to be able to compare. I like to be able to see everyone before I vote. And so what I would do, and it's basically what I would said, open the voting for 10 minutes after everyone performs, fill the time with the commercial break and alumni performance, and then announce the result at the end. Don't screw over the person who performs last. Don't help the person who performs first. Just make it fair. Everyone votes. Excuse to bring back an alumni was also important. That's the one thing I would say. One of my things I would change for season 17 is bring back more alumni and let them promote their stuff.
Yeah.
On that note, we're going to kind of pivot into our next topic. Two more, promise. This one is, I just want to ask you guys, what are some of your hopes for the next season? Like we've seen ABC tackle season 1. We know that next season there are going to be a few more weeks for the performances. What other hopes do you kind of have for the next season? Jason, you look like you have something to say.
Oh, I was just worshiping that it's going to be longer. I'm really happy about it. That would definitely be one thing that they needed to change because this season it was far too short. I would have loved to have another month or two of Idol. But I think one of the main things that needs to happen, and y'all can fight me as much as I think one of the main things that needs to happen is I need the judges to stop standing up for every single performance, please. And number 2, I need for them to actually give more constructive criticism. I think this was a
woo! Best comment. Yes.
I think that this was a good start, but every time that I would go on the Idol hashtag during a show, I'd be like, why are these people being, so nice? That wasn't that good, or all this stuff. I think that they just need to get a little bit more realistic.
Honesty.
Start.
All right, Eric, you look like you have something to say.
That. I don't have anything to say anymore. He just stole the words out of my mouth. No more cut the standing ovations. Adam and I were joking back in early rounds. Maybe they can't see their performances. That's why they're standing up so much.
No, they can't see the stage, is what I said.
I know.
All right,
God,
Ryan.
I do have one more thing to add, though.
Go for it.
So I'm going to go for my 3 big changes. First of all, get rid of Bobby Bones. He was terrible.
He was amazing.
I liked him.
No, he was awful.
He was
awful.
I won't say that.
Okay. But whatever changes were open the voting for 10 minutes at the end and bring back alumni. At least 2 more weeks of live shows. I don't want there to be any more triple or quadruple eliminations on Idol. Double eliminations I can deal with. Triple and quadruple is too much. Judges should act like they did in finale all season long, give honest real critiques. And last but not least, it's season 17. It's not season 2. Don't say it's season 2. Mm-hmm. Don't erase Idol history. Idol has a good enough history behind it that ABC should be proud of it and not trying to start over.
On that note, I'm just going to throw in my idea. If I'm the producer and I get to pick one change, I want iTunes performance backs.
Yes.
But on one condition, I do not want to see them charting on the charts. The thing is that I like about American Idol more is that when you watch the results, you really have no idea how things are going to go. With The Voice, one of the biggest gripes that I have with it is that if someone is number 1 on iTunes week after week, you could kind of tell where things are going to go. In my opinion,
quick comment on that. That's been less of a case recently, mostly because for Idol, for example, they wouldn't just be on iTunes; they'd be on all these music services. Back when iTunes had like 70% market share, I would see that. But now that things are on all these different services, it's much different. It's a different landscape in the music industry now. So I think they can chart, but I understand them not letting them chart, but I also understand the argument for letting them chart.
What do you think, Ryan?
I selfishly want to see them chart. I want to know where my favorites are. And I don't think it necessarily translates into votes as we saw before with certain winners singles not doing absolutely anything on iTunes and then still winning somehow in season 13. But I would say my iTunes would be my change. Live shows would be my change. And I don't know. I think those are what I would keep it at. Like I was happy with the season and I don't want them to feel like they have to go radically different. I think they have a very good start and they just need to tweak it at this point.
I agree. I think we kind of hit all the notes. Like those are the big things. I want a few more weeks. I don't want this show to become The Voice. I don't want so many eliminations. I feel like if you need to cut
No bloodbath.
I feel like if you need to cut like a lot of contestants at one point, have it being cut from like the top 24 to the top 8. I'd so much rather that than have like it being top 12, top 10, top like 5. Just get that big cut right out of the way and get back to the contestants where it's one a week or going home. I kind of miss the bottom 3. Like I miss the dramatics of it. I don't like this. They're just called and move on.
I miss my stool.
I like that. I miss the stool of death or whatever it's called.
The stool of doom. The stool of doom.
Christie's seat.
I love when Haley was it Haley Reinhardt who like patted the chair?
It off. I think it was Haley. Do you guys have any final things you want to touch on for hopes for the next season? I guess.
I'm very glad it's back.
I am glad too. So we're gonna kind of move on to the last segment of this episode. One of the reasons I'm actually wearing my tuxedo shirt, which is pretty snazzy, if I do say so myself, is we're gonna do a bit of a short award show right now. I'm just going to throw out an idea, and we're gonna kind of talk about who kind of earns the award. We could go back and forth, just a little bit of that. So I'm gonna throw out the first topic. I want to ask. I'll throw this over to Eric first. Which week earns the award for the best theme? Which was the best theme of the season?
Statistically, based on the best performances, Prince Week.
Totally
false.
Not going to agree.
False.
All right, Ryan.
Disney Week was everything. Like the ratings skyrocketed.
Okay,
performances.
That's true. That's true.
Maybe
I will say that I was going on based on best performances from this cast.
I will.
If I'm going based on best theme for the show overall to bring back next season, Disney 100%.
Maybe like Gabby and Maddie had those like the peak moments more.
Yes.
But like Disney Week, I think was so consistent with everyone.
I would agree.
Almost everyone.
Yeah.
It was just fun.
Like even Michelle, like we can get into her, but like where did that come from?
Yeah, that was good.
You beat me to the punch. We're going to be talking about Michelle in a minute. Jason, in your opinion, which theme week wins the award for best theme week?
I would either give it the Disney week or I also really liked Carrie Underwood week, not gonna lie. But that's just a personal preference because I love Carrie Underwood, but those were my two that I really enjoyed the most, I think. I
would have picked Carrie Underwood week if the contestants had kind of picked better songs. I feel like most of the performances, the song selections weren't the best. Disney week, it was just the most fun to watch. I just straight up enjoyed it. So
can I just say, I'm very, very glad that they brought back those kind of themes. Like, I love an idea of a Disney theme, of a Prince theme, of a Carrie theme. I think it made the week so enjoyable, and it gave them like a sense of instant identity. Anyway, but no, I'm very glad they had the themes like that, and I want that to continue.
Agreed.
All right, so we're gonna move on to our next award. We're gonna hand out. This is we're gonna touch on some contestants here. Who is? I feel like we're gonna have a lot to say here. Who is the most robbed contestant of the season? And I'm gonna throw this to Jason first because Jason looks. Go on, Jason.
Thaddeus. Oh my God, he was so robbed. When he performed Rise, the song Rise got back into the top 30 of iTunes. That is a song that Katy Perry wrote for the Clinton campaign. It was the most irrelevant ass song that she's ever made. But you know what? He performed that, and America was like, oh, let me go look at this song. No, he was so robbed. He should have made top 24 based on that alone.
Do you agree, Ryan?
Oh, he was definitely robbed, but I'm going to say Journey just because that girl is an absolute star in every way.
What about you, Eric?
Mara and Ada.
I'm torn on a bunch of contestants. I'm not quite sure. I feel like...
I can't fault Journey, though. I can't fault that. Nor can I fault Thaddeus.
There's a little tiny part of me that kind of wants to say Michelle just because of her Disney week. Everything else was kind of a mess, but I really liked her Disney week. But yeah, I'm not going to say Michelle.
You keep digging yourself that hole.
I'm going to say it's a tie between Journey and Adam Sanders, and I'll just leave it at that.
God.
So we're going to move on.
I enjoyed that. Thank you, Adam.
And also Katie, despite that disaster.
Oh,
yes.
Well, Katie at least made the tour. I'm talking about people who didn't make the tour.
I feel like we're going to...
Oh, Journey made the tour also, right? Yeah.
I feel like we're going to kind of pivot a little bit into we're probably going to touch on Katie here. I want to ask the next award that we're going to hand out is for the boldest performance. Who took a song and was the most creative with it, did something out of the box. And I'm going to start. Of all the contestants, I'm going to say the boldest was Katie doing Oops, I Did It Again, in my opinion.
Same here.
Well, there's Eric's opinion. And Ryan, what do you think? Which was the boldest performance of the season?
When I think of bold performers this season, I only think, honestly, I do think of Katie. I only think of Katie. I only think of Ada, and I kind of think of Journey doing Bang Bang because
that one was up there.
It was bold. I don't think it worked the best, but I did think
I don't think it
worked.
Traffic. I think it was a great performance, but I don't think the voters of this show can appreciate it. We'll say that.
What about you, Jason?
Okay, I have two separate thoughts. Number one, not necessarily like a specific performance, but how many songs did Maddie do this season that have never been done on this show before?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we should have touched on that earlier. We got the bare necessities. Like, we got a bunch of.
Well, that's because Disney.
Sorry, I had a brain fart there. It is what it is. Anyway, but yeah, Maddie, and then I also. Despite how I feel about him, I will say Cade picked some really interesting song choices. Like, who would have thought to pick Who Will Save Your Soul by Jewel? Have you actually heard Who Will Save Your Soul? Why would anybody pick that for themselves? But he picked that. Whether it worked or not it didn't. It was bold.
Another, I know I said my.
When I think of bold from Cade, I think of Kiss the Girl.
That was what I was going to say. I wanted to give a shout out.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, did you share your? Yeah, you shared yours. Did we all? Yeah, we all went over. Right. All right. So the next award we're going to hand out for is the most underrated performance of the season. Who did a performance that kind of fell to the back a little bit, but is still one of the standouts of the season? I'm going to start with you, Eric. What was, in your opinion, the most underrated performance of the season?
My number 2 and my number 3, Katie Turner, Oops, I Did It Again, Dennis Lawrence Urban's Women's Work.
Yeah. What about you, Jason?
I don't know. Can Ryan go first, please?
Go on, Ryan.
Honestly, I have the ones that jump out to me most come from Disney Week. I think of, I could say everything from Maddie because she deserved her win 100%. Everything she did was pretty fantastic. But like aside from Maddie, Michelle doing Remember Me, Katie doing Once Upon a Dream, like that vocal was phenomenal.
The vocal was phenomenal, but twirling was not.
But that's Disney Week. It's a princess theme. Like I don't even mind it at that week.
I didn't mind it, but I will say if she stood there and sang the song straight up, that would have been my favorite performance of her this season.
And Journey doing How Far I'll Go. That vocal
was good too.
Fantastic. Why did that not get more attention?
I'm going to say, for me, the most underrated performance, in my opinion, is from a contestant who I'm surprised we haven't talked a lot about that much. It's Michael J. Woodard doing Beauty and the Beast. I thought that was a pretty strong performance, and we haven't really touched on him. Do you agree?
You never have any notes about him.
I do never have any notes, which is always so weird to me. Jason?
Yes, I have figured it out. You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say Michael, but I was actually going to say Titanium because I don't think it got the credit from the general public that it deserved. I thought that was really, really good.
I remember that one. That one was good.
Can I throw in another Michael performance? It's going to probably be unpopular to say.
I've opened the floodgates. Now we're all in on Michael.
Flat on the Floor. That was fantastic.
Here's the thing. On paper, that was going to be horrific. But he did nail it. So, yes. That one was good. And that one, I'll put that under bold song choices as well, actually.
Yeah.
I kind of I like that performance. The thing is, that song is kind of ruined for me because it's probably the one performance of Lauren Elena's that I actually really like. Do you guys remember that?
One.
I wasn't that big of a fan of Lauren's that season, but this was one that I really enjoyed of hers.
Bubbles. Does anyone remember?
She was Bubble.
Which one was she?
She was Bubbles.
Who were the other two? I guess Haley was Buttercup. I don't know.
I don't care.
Leah was green. And then Haley was red.
Oh. Anyway, that's kind of all. So those are the underrated performances of the season. The next award, who was the best judge of the season? Ryan, you could start. Who was the best judge?
I'm gonna say Katie. I think she brought some of the most commitment. She was invested, and when there was criticism, it did generally come from her.
What about you, Jason?
I will agree with Ryan, but let me just say I love Lionel Richie. I love him so much. He is like the nicest person, and I know I just bitched about like them not critiquing, but I'm so happy Lionel Richie's a judge. He is. I really like Lionel Richie.
Jason? Not Jason. Eric.
I'm
Sorry.
Eric. He's Jason.
Go on, Eric.
Let's see. I would say Katie was the best judge. She was not worth $25 million, but she was definitely worth as much as J-Lo is worth.
I love how we all just went like, I'm going to agree with most of you guys. I'm going to say Katie because I just feel like the other two, like Luke Bryan was kind of useless.
Luke was a pushover. He was there to be stubborn. That's what he was there for. His note said be stubborn. And that's all he was there to do.
Lionel kind of does this thing where he kind of talks a lot and doesn't really say that much, but
not as bad as Mariah. Remember Mariah's like paragraph long critique of Lazaro?
We're not going to talk about Lazaro. We're not going there.
Hey, you brought up CC Fry. I can bring up Lazaro.
If you miss the key change, that's just the end of the song.
All right. That's actually all the awards that I have. Do you guys have any other awards that you want to hand out? I'll throw it over to Jason. Any final awards?
I would like to hand out awards to Caleb and Cade for overstaying their welcome, but I like Caleb. He seems like a nice person. He made it way too far. I don't think he should have even made the top 10. It is what it is. I don't like Cade. I can come out and say that. I do not like Cade, and I think Gabby has talent there, but her personality makes me want to punch a wall. But yeah, how did we get to talking about this anyway?
Eric, any awards you want to hand out?
Favorite co-host? No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that.
All right. So that's basically.
Oh wait, I have one.
Okay.
Best impression was Gabby being a Southerner all season.
I was gonna say Caleb doing the Lionel.
Caleb.
No, Gabby was way more committed than last month.
That did last month. She was pretty committed. I didn't know Pittsburgh people talk with Southern accents. It was
Oh no, they just sing with them.
Oh, they just sing with them?
Yeah.
Let's. There's a lot that we could talk about with Gabby, but let's kind of move on. So that's basically.
Shall we?
That's basically our wrap up of the season. But from this point on, the podcasts are going to be me. Like I said earlier, me and Eric are going to be talking about America's Got Talent. Eric, what are you most excited to see about America's Got Talent this season?
I'm excited to hopefully see some great variety. Hopefully not too many singers. We had a lot of those last season. I'm hoping for this year. I'm hoping for a good comedian. I think Preacher Larson last year was awful, so I'm hoping we get something great this year.
So Jason and Ryan and I will be doing Big Brother. I am so excited to talk about Big Brother. It's not going to be premiering for a couple of weeks, so we might do some little things here or there just to get our feet wet with our coverage. Ryan, I'll throw it over to you. What is your number one hope for this new season of Big Brother?
It's a tie between No Paul and lots of Davon.
Oh, there's going to be Paul. Paul's going to jump over the.
I'm glad that you're appreciating that because I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Jason, what's your number one hope for the season?
The damn nail on the head. There are so many people online saying that they don't want any returners. They want it to be a whole new season. I am not one of those people. I would love for this season to be All Stars. I don't know that it will be or not. But if it is, Davon, Miss Rogers, where you at? Come on back. This will not be her time. She will probably only last 3 weeks, but come on. 3 weeks.
We kind of pivoted a little bit, but I just want to touch one last moment on American Idol. Do you guys have any final thoughts on the season as a whole? We talked about everything. We went through the contestants. Is there anything you want to talk about that we didn't touch on yet? Ryan?
No, I just want to reiterate that Maddie is the most deserving winner of the season. And I'm very, very, very happy with this season.
Eric?
I go the second half, not the first.
All right. Jason?
I would like to give a big middle finger to ABC for not an Idol tour to Atlanta.
And on that note, I just want to say that I am Adam Samuel. You could find me on Twitter at Adam Soapbox. You could follow my website, adamstvblog.com, and my personal website, adamsoapbox.blog. Where can we find you, Eric?
Eric_Ascher on Twitter, thoughts.ericascher.com, my personal blog. And you will find me on this podcast next week for AGT. Wait.
Ryan, where can we find you?
Find me Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, everything. It's Ryan Temple TBH.
Jason, where can we all find you?
First of all, I want to say thank you for having me on. I had a great time.
You did great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you all did great.
At _ you got to do the _ Jason Brown 21, and then my Instagram is Jason with 2 N's, Brown with 1 N. So please come and give me a follow. And I had a great time. Thank you.
I just want to say to all our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. This is the end of our American Idol 16 coverage. It was a blast. I enjoyed it so much. This was a blast, everyone. Thank you so much. And I just want to close. One final question. I'm going to throw this to I asked this to Eric last time, so I'm going to throw this to Ryan last. Who will be the most successful from the season of American Idol in a few years?
Journey, Katie, and Maddie.
Mm-hmm.
Jason.
Yep.
Eric.
Well, I actually said if ABC gives her a promo, despite her not being my cup of tea, I think Maddie can have a pretty big career.
I'm going to say Maddie. All right. And on that note, I want to say thank you so much. This was a blast. Thank you, all 3 of you, for joining me. We'll see you in the coming weeks for more podcasts. There's so much more Adam's TV podcast coming in the coming weeks. And I'm excited. So thank you guys so much. Peace.
Adios.